Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Mets Musing. I know we've had a few weeks off, but there's been a lot of things going on, so I thought it'd be time for a show, bring you all up to date. Now, we had the GM meetings last week, and David Stearns talked to the press there and announced that Carlos Mendoza and his entire pitching staff is his entire coaching staff is coming back next year. That's a great news. So we expected as much. They did a fantastic job, but a lot further than anybody thought they would. So no surprise there. They also announced that they extended the qualifying offer to Pete Alonso. $21.05 million. Qualifying offer extended to Peter Alonso, Sean Manaea, and Luis Severino. If any of these players accept the deal, they'll be back next year on a one-year deal. If they decline, which is probably going to be the case for all three, though Severino could surprise everyone and take it, but I think after his season that he had, the bounce back season he had, I think he's going to try to get a more extended deal. So it looks like they'll all decline it, and then they will hit free agency, but they can still sign with the Mets. So all is not lost there as well. He also said, David Stearns did, that there are different ways to build a pitching staff. He anticipates adding multiple starting pitchers in the offseason. Instead of going, I guess, for the big names, he'll bring in like he did last year. And look, it's hard to argue with what the job he did last year. I mean, it was sensational. They put it together, and it all worked out. So we'll see what he's got up his sleeve for this offseason. And he does have some flexibility with payroll. Of course, the big free agent is Juan Soto that everybody's talking about. They want the Mets to go after. Will they go after Corbin Burns as well? There is a rumor that they may be interested in Crochet from the White Sox, the big lefty there. So lots of things have to come into play as the winter goes on. But those are just some of the things that so far that they're addressing. Brandon Nimmo will probably see a lot more time in left field next year, and he should be okay to go with his plantar fasciitis by spring training. But that's a funny thing. I've had that myself in the past. And it can come and go. It doesn't really solve itself. I was fortunate enough that I got some sort of pad, and I can't remember the name, and I hope they find out what it is, and use that. And over a course of time, it really helped me. And knock wood, haven't had any occurrence in a couple of years now. So I'm sure they know all the technology and everything, and they'll do what they can to get Brandon ready for the 2025 season. And a lot of time left to go. The Mets announced some roster moves, too, last week. They sent outfielder DJ Stewart and left-handed pitcher Joey Lucchesi and Matt Gage outright to AAA. Stewart and Lucchesi elected free agency, while Gage will return to Syracuse. The Mets also reinstated right-handed pitcher Paul Blackburn, Sean Reed Foley, and Christian Scott, as well as infielder Ronnie Mauricio from the 60-day IL. All paperwork, all things that they had to do to hold on to these guys. The Mets declined right-handed pitcher Phil Maton's 7.75 option for the 2025 season, making him a free agent. Instead, they will pay him a $250,000 buyout. Now, I'm a little surprised at that. I thought they might hold on to Maton. I know he struggled at the end of the season, especially in the playoffs, but he was terrific before that. And I thought that they might, but I guess they figured 7.75 is too much. He's not worth that much. They may try to re-sign him at a lesser contract. So we'll see how that works out. And he might take it if there's no interest around. The Mets began rebuilding their bullpen. The team has agreed to terms on a minor league contract with right-handed pitcher Chris Diversky and invited him to spring training, according to multiple sources. He is a veteran of nine major league seasons with a 3.9 ERA of 400 and career innings. He was a member of the 2017 World Series champion Astros. Let's see. They also signed right-handed pitcher Dylan Covey to a one-year major league contract over the span of 5 major league seasons. Covey has pitched for the White Sox, Red Sox, Dodgers, and most recently with the Phillies organization. He's worked as both a starter and a reliever over the course of his career, making 100 appearances with a 6.180 career ERA and 6.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. So maybe they're hoping that they can find something as well there. They've also agreed to a minor league deal with Rico Garcia and will extend an MLB camp invite to the right-hander. He's 30. He spent the 2024 season in the Washington Nationals Triple-A team across 55 games. He pitched to a 6-3 record, a 3.94 ERA, and a 1.25 WHIP. He also led the International League with 20 saves out of 21 opportunities. So a little bullpen help there. Kevin Herget, infielder Luis De Los Santos were claimed off of waivers. The Mets added the 2 players to their 40-man roster, claiming Herget from the Brewers and De Los Santos from the Blue Jays. Just some extra depth that they brought in for this coming season. So the Mets have been a busy little beavers here, trying to rebuild that bullpen and pitching staff. And, it should be an even more interesting offseason than what we thought, because there is a lot of things to build. The mechanics of it all, the free agency, the trades. David Stearns likes to make trades and move things around a lot, so it'll be interesting. The Mets also hired a former Yankees assistant pitching coach, Desi Drechel, to the same position with the Mets, so he'll help out Jeremy Hefner in that role. And he knows and will reunite with Carlos Mendoza, so that should be a good thing there. Let's see. Francisco Lindor won a Silver Slugger Award, and he is one of the finalists for the 2024 MVP ballot. Of course, everybody's picking Shohei Ohtani. But the three finalists is Ohtani, the Arizona Diamondbacks, Kel Marte, and of course Francisco Lindor. I've made the case here for Lindor in the past. They've said it is the most valuable player. Who helped his team the most? Would the Dodgers have made it to the playoffs in the World Series and the division championship without Ohtani? Probably yes. Would the Mets have made a wild card run? Probably no. So I it's how you want to look at it. Ohtani will probably get it for the historic year that he had, but that's why I think MLB needs a Player of the Year award and separate that and define better what the MVP is. Most valuable player should be the most valuable player on a particular team that drove a team to a position that they would not have been at. And then it opens it up where other people that may have had a terrific year, but played on a last place team, they have slim to none chance of getting an award. This way, if you have something like a Player of the Year award, that opens up another choice for them. So, and I go back to 1986, as I believe it was, when Mike Schmidt won the MVP, and even though the Phillies finished like 11 games behind the New York Mets in the Eastern Division, the writers said, well, they would not have been in that position clearly without the year Mike Schmidt had. So why not do the same thing here? The Mets may not have made the wild card without the likes of Francisco Lindor. So that would be my argument to make over Shohei Ohtani, but I think everybody would probably agree that it's a pretty it's an argument that's not going to win. Carlos Mendoza is also made the finalist of the Manager of the Year award, and he will be up against Pat Murphy of the Brewers and Mike Shildt of the Padres. And don't know, nobody's really saying who is the favorite in that National League Manager of the Year award, to be announced November 19th. Again, I'll make the argument for Mendoza. The Mets thought they were going to be competitive, but I don't think anybody thought they would get as far as they got, especially winning the wild card and then going on to the championship series. Pat Murphy took over a Brewers team that had won a division. And the same with Mike Shildt. He took over a team that had been in the playoffs the last few years. So they both had pretty good teams that they took over. Yeah, they all did fine jobs. I'm not discrediting any jobs that they did. But I just think, Mendoza took the team to new heights and got them a lot further than anybody thought. So, I'm biased, and I think that he should be the Manager of the Year in the National League. But not up to me. I don't have a vote. That's the update. So, okay, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about should the Mets go after Juan Soto or not? Should they spend the money? What free agents they should look at, and all of that after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Okay, and we are back, and you know, Juan Soto, of course, is the big prize in the free agency. Should the Mets go after him? Well, why not? What have you got to lose except money? And he is a generational player. Yes, his defense isn't the greatest, but we can work on that. His offense is fantastic, and it's coming off of a big year and would be a nice fit for the Mets lineup in right field. Now he's going to be asking an exorbitant amount of money, but the Mets have a lot of money coming off of their payroll this season. So it was estimated, I read somewhere that about with the I guess with arbitration and everything returning players, the Mets payroll currently is about 150 million. I would think that they would be willing to probably go another 70 to 100 million, just guessing. Um, they say that Soto could be looking for a $600 million contract over, I guess, 12 to 13 years. He is 26. So the risk isn't as bad with him as he's coming into his prime as it would be, say, an Alonso who's 30. Uh, he can always transition to a DH as well as he gets older, but nonetheless, at 26, 12-year contract would take him to 38. 600 million would be 50 million a year. I mean, these numbers are unbelievable. But the position of the Mets at this time, they could really use a hitter like him. Familiar with the East Coast. They say his preference is the East Coast, having come up and played with the Washington Nationals. He played in New York successfully with the Yankees, so he can play in New York. We know that. Will he stay with the Yankees? It looks right now as if the Yankees and the Mets are probably the two front runners to get him. The Dodgers have checked in, but their needs are in pitching, so they may not go in that direction. And I know what you're going to say. The Mets' needs are in pitching as well, but they are in dire need of it. Tampa Bay Rays checked in, but then I can't see them spending that kind of money. Unless they're just checking in case the market softens and they can swoop in. I can't see that though. So it looks like it's the Mets, the Yankees, and possibly the Boston Red Sox. Now that offers an intriguing situation as well. He's familiar with both leagues, Soto. He played in the National League, as said, with the Washington Nationals and the San Diego Padres. Got traded to the Yankees, played full season last year with the Yankees. So he's familiar with the Red Sox as well in Fenway. It's going to be an interesting thing. Steve Cohen is flying out, I believe, this week to meet with Soto in California, as other representatives will be with other teams, and apparently Francisco Lindor has been trying to recruit Soto to come to New York. So it'll be interesting to see if they can sign Soto and sign him early enough. Excuse me. That's important to get him signed, get him in here. We don't want to wait. He's a Scott Moore Boris guy. Boris likes to keep holding out and everything like that. You don't want to do that with a talent like this. Get him signed. Then they can move on to Alonso and what they want to do in that direction. I think they'll try to sign Alonso depending upon what his contract needs are. I would say, for me, maybe 5 years at the age of 30, 5 years, maybe six top in the 150, 175 range, somewhere like that. Now, I know he turned down an offer before. I don't remember the exact numbers, but perhaps now he may, after coming off a season with, which was a mixed bag, really. He hit 34 homers, but everything else was down, and his OPS continues to drop year after year. So that's got to be concerning to some teams. So we'll see. Somebody's going to take a chance on him, and we'll see where Pete Alonso lands. The pitching is Corbin Burns, Blake Snell, the usual suspect. We'll see where they go. Don't know how intently the Mets will go after a top line starter. Maybe a Corbin Burns would be a good match for them. But whether or not they're going to go after somebody like that and spend more money, we do not know at this point in time. But we'll see how it all plays out. We're in a very young part of the season yet, and of the off season, I should say, and we should see where it all ends up. And like I said, there's always trades. There is report that they are interested in Garrett Crochet. I guess it's just going to matter of what is the price going to be for him. If it's too much, I would not be surprised this offseason if Jeff McNeil, Starling Marte are gone, are traded. And maybe a couple of prospects. I could see Brett Beatty probably going. Some people suggest that Acuna could go, being that they still have guys in the minors to play the same position. I'm not sure about that. I think they were very happy with what they saw from him and what he showed. And, that experience he got puts him above somebody just coming up. I mean, he got some valuable time in, valuable major league experience. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I would not be surprised if McNeil, Marte, maybe a Tyrone Taylor even, though I like his insurance in the outfield a lot, but I can see those guys going. But we'll see, and we'll be here to report it all. But finally, before we go, the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown announced Tuesday of last week that one of the Mets' OMG signs will join the institution's permanent collection and will go on display in the Your Team Today exhibit. The sign, which Mets players use during dugout celebrations, features the large acrylic letters OMG, as well as inscriptions from its creator, Jerome McCroy. The Mets used two OMG signs over the course of the summer. The first, which McCroy gifted to Jose Iglesias following the release of his hit single in June, and became a part of the Mets dugout home run celebration. The second, which is the one that will be on display in Cooperstown, belongs to the team's pitches. So, OMG enshrined in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So if you get up there this summer, you'll get to see it in the minor, the Baseball Hall of Fame. So go check that out. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. Hopefully there'll be some more news coming out. We'll see about next week's show, whether we'll do a show next week or every other week. Haven't decided yet. So that's why you should subscribe and be notified whenever a new show is released. Very important. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like this this video and subscribe to YouTube. And don't forget, we are on all of the major podcast suppliers with the audio version. We're also on Rumble. If you're on Rumble, please follow Mets Musing and just check in with us all the time at MetsMusings.com to see if a new episode has been released. So we're going to try to be consistent as much as possible, but if there's no news, there's no news. So, create news out of, well, we could, we'll see. Anyway, until next time, remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go, Mets. And I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Music.